Antalya is a resort and port city in southern Turkey on the Mediterranean coast. This place is primarily known for its beaches with crystal water with mountains in the background. Here you can also find many historical and architectural sites. In this video I'll show you the most famous attractions in Antalya and some of the best beaches in the world. Antalya is a popular tourist destination. Just look how many planes are landing here every minute. It seems that the whole Europe is going here. The city earns a lot of money from tourism. So here you can find a manicured, clean and well-maintained part of Turkey in the coastal areas and typical Turkey in the areas where most of citizens live. I'd start exploring Antalya from its true heart, the old city Kaleici.
The name Kaleici means inside the fortress, and there is no coincidence because the old town is separated from the modern one by a high stone wall. And here you can see the first attraction in Kaleici, the Hadrian's Gate. It was built in honor of Roman Emperor Hadrian, who visited the city in the year 130.
The height of the building is 8 meters. Antalya was the winter residence of Emperor Hadrian. The gate is the only ancient monument in Antalya. Kaleici was formed during the period when the region belonged to the Roman Empire. At that time it was a small harbor. For its entire existence, the Greeks, Byzantines, Seljuks and Ottomans participated in the area construction. Now Kaleici combines the elements of all these people's architecture. However, most of the preserved houses belong to the Ottoman period. In the area, you can see the traditional houses. As a rule, they combine masonry made of stone and wood. The houses face the street, and behind them there is a garden.
New constructions are prohibited here. If the existing houses are restored, it's mandatory that the spirit of the old Turkey should be preserved to the smallest detail. And look at the roofs. They are made of red tiles, like in many European towns.
When you walk around the area, pay attention to these sites. Yivli Minaret is the symbol of Antalya. It's visible from almost anywhere in the city. The minaret was built in the 13th century. It's one of the examples of the early Islamic architectural tradition. Its height is 38 meters.
Yivli means fluted or grooved. If you look closely, you'll notice that its structure is as if cut by bricks into separate layers.
Hydraulic Tower is a Roman building. It was constructed in the 2nd century. Now nobody knows for certain what role the structure played. It's believed that it was a lighthouse or a defensive building. During our visit, there were excavations near the tower. Old City Marina is one of the most famous and recognizable places in Antalya. The harbor's history dates back to the 2nd century BC. Its economic role was especially crucial in the Ottoman Empire. The local slave market was one of the largest in the region. Today, many wealthy citizens of Turkey keep their yachts here and ships, and tourists can take a boat trip. Kaleici is a place where you don't want to rush. It's so nice to slowly walk in the streets and pay attention to every small detail. It feels that the owners are very attentive to their homes. They keep them in good condition and it's very clean in the area. There are also several parks here. Of course, now everything here is made for tourists and there are a lot of them. But anyway, even despite that, the place is so cute. I really enjoyed it. The coast of Kaleici is covered with cliffs of various heights. It's difficult to locate a beach here, but there is one exception, a beach called Memeli with a paid entrance. You can watch the beach and the port from a viewpoint upstairs.
Oh my god, it's so beautiful here, really so picturesque. And I'm really envious of those guys who swim at that beach. And the water is crystal blue.
But today we are going to another beach. It's called Lara and located in another part of the city. In Antalya, there are 229 beaches under the blue flag. This is the largest number in the world. The blue flag status is assigned to beaches for cleanliness and high environmental standards of the beach itself and coastal waters. Turkey ranks third in the world for the number of such beaches, after Spain and Greece. The swimming season here lasts 6 months, from May till October. Lara is one of the most popular beaches in Antalya. In summer, there are always a lot of tourists here. It's sandy with a wide coastline. The length of the beach is 3.5 kilometers. There is all the necessary infrastructure. The beach has been awarded the blue flag. However, like in many beaches, there are some polluted areas. People leave trash and there are a lot of sunflower seed husks in the sand. The locals love eating seeds everywhere, also at the beach, and sometimes they just leave it there. There is one interesting place near Lara beach, the Sandland. There are more than 20 sandy sculptures here. They are changed every year, since a year is the average life of such a sculpture. After the sunset, the sculptures are illuminated with different colors. The theme of the exhibition is also different every year. For example, this year the sculptures are dedicated to space. Therefore, it was possible to see exhibits dedicated to SpaceX, Yuri Gagarin and the Star Wars. The most skillful sculptors from different countries work on the objects. The construction of one exhibit takes from 1 to 3 weeks. I'd say that it's an interesting place. If you have enough time, you can visit it. And in the end, we met the giant head of Ataturk. Could it be anything else? Today we are going outside of Antalya to one special place. First, we drive almost 40 minutes from the city center to the mountains. Then, after we have paid the entrance ticket, we are going further up the narrow serpentine for 15 minutes. This is where our journey begins. Today, we are going to walk several kilometers in the heat. Therefore, don't forget to grab enough water and put on comfortable shoes, as the route runs over stones and in the forest area. You also need to take some food with you, as there are no cafes or restaurants nearby.
Alexander the Great couldn't conquer this place, but today we will try. Yes, today we are going to visit Termessos, an ancient city.
The road isn't difficult. Anyone can go trekking here. We've seen even pensioners and families with children. It's so nice to walk through the forest in the shade. It's not so exhaustingly hot here. When you finally reach the main spot here, you understand why you've come here all the way.
To see exactly this view, the theater in the mountains.
Termessos was founded many centuries BC. In the 6th century BC, the city fell under the control of the Persian Empire. 2 centuries later, it went down in history as the only city that Alexander the Great couldn't take. Alexander's troops approached Termessos and began a siege. But due to the fierce resistance of the city, and also due to the fact that it's located in a remote place, Alexander couldn't take it quickly. He didn't want to waste time and suffer losses, so he decided to leave the siege. In the 3rd century, the city was badly damaged by an earthquake. The water supply system was destroyed and people had to move to other places for living.
It has never been reconstructed, and that's actually nice because you can touch the history here as it is. This is a truly magical place. I haven't visited Machu Picchu yet, but I think that Termessos and Machu Picchu are somehow similar. As I have noticed, this place is not that popular among tourists because it's quite remote from Antalya. I would say that the true lovers of architecture and history come here.
Apart from the theater, here you can also see the buildings of the city council, temples, baths, rock tombs, underground cisterns and other constructions. For us, it took about 4 hours to see everything. For me, Termessos is one of the nicest places in Turkey. I like the theater in the mountains so much. This place is my recommendation for you. In the afternoon, we are going to one of my favorite beaches in Turkey, Konyaalti. It's the longest beach in Antalya. Its length is 7 kilometers. This is a pebble beach. Just look at its clear, purest water. It's been awarded the blue flag. Near Konyaalti, there is a very beautiful and spacious promenade with a modern park. This is an outstanding public space. There is everything here for adults and children. You can ride bicycles, roller skates, and even motorcycles. You can sit on the lawn and just walk around. This place is a real magnet for locals and tourists. Trade and tourism are the main source of the economic well-being of the city and the region. Before 2010, the tourist flow came mainly from consumers of the package tours from Russia, Ukraine and Germany. Now, the city is also actively developing infrastructure for independent travelers. A record 13.6 million tourists passed through the city in 2019. The permanent population of the city is over 1 million people. In summer, the number can exceed 2 million due to the active tourist influx. For the 3rd day, we have big plans again. And we're gonna drive many kilometers, but that's even more interesting. But first, we are going to stop by some place. You can notice here how many planes arrive in Antalya. Really a lot. And this is the reason why we have come here. For the Duden Waterfall. There are several waterfalls in Antalya. During this trip, we plan to visit only this one. The place is quite popular. Many tourists from different countries come here. There is some green area nearby and the viewpoint deck. You can also see the waterfall from the sea by boat. Its height is 40 meters. And now we are moving on.
Aspendos was conquered by many states. It was part of Lycia and Persia. In the 4th century BC, it was taken by Alexander the Great, and here an interesting story happened. When Alexander was approaching Aspendos with his troops, the city sent to him envoys asking not to bring soldiers here. Alexander agreed on the condition that the taxes and horses will be given to him as tribute. However, after Alexander headed to another city, Aspendos didn't ratify the agreement and instead started preparing for the defense. When Alexander was marching with his troops towards Aspendos, they again sent to him envoys to sue for peace. But at that time, Alexander set very harsh terms and higher taxes, on which the city had to agree.
In the 2nd century BC, the city was conquered by the Romans, and from that time began its economic and cultural flourishing. It was a big port and center of trade. In the following centuries, during the Byzantine Empire, the city fell into decay. In the 13th century, the city was conquered by the Seljuks, and after that eventually ceased to exist. Today, we can only see the ruins of the once mighty city.
The most famous building of Aspendos is the ancient theater. Its capacity is 12,000 people. It was built by the Romans in the 2nd century, and it's one of the oldest surviving stages.
Apart from the theater, you can see other ruins here, but unlike in Termessos, there is little natural shade here, and during the day it's very hot in the sun. You can hide only in some places. This is the Roman aqueduct. Now we can see only its remains, but centuries ago its length was 20 kilometers.
In ancient times, it was the only water supply system in the city. Today, it's the largest aqueduct in Turkey.
And now we still have to drive about 100 kilometers to town Alanya. Here we are going to visit one famous Kleopatra beach. Why it's called like that? There is a beautiful legend about the origin of the beach's name. According to it, Kleopatra often visited the resort of Alanya. She especially loved clean water, but the queen didn't like the sand on the beach. So, by order of Mark Antony, it was completely replaced with the sand from the Nile Delta. One day, scientists decided to check the veracity of this legend and eventually received confirmation. The sand from the Kleopatra beach in Alanya is identical to the sand found near the Nile Delta. I really like the beach. The water here is really very clear and pleasant. I'd love to come back here again. Now I have another favorite beach in Turkey. There is a lot more to see in Alanya, for example, a fortress and other beaches. However, we won't be able to visit them this trip. We're gonna leave it for the next time. I hope you enjoyed the video about Antalya. This is a place that combines tourists and real Turkey. The city is suitable for a perfect holiday. I recommend to visit it. If you ask me, I'd certainly visit Kaleici, Termessos, Konyaalti beach and Aspendos. You can do it within 2 or 3 days. And see you in the next video. Bye!